Hi everyone, I hope you're well. I had a few questions on WhatsApp on how to answer the spreadsheet section of February-March 2023. So I'm just going to make a short video on how to do this question. I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you need specific answers to something, you can just WhatsApp me. So the question paper, we can just say open link a new tab, and then for the source files, you can just say open link a new tab. The question paper should be here, and luckily it's one of the first tasks. So the question that I'm going to cover is just this first part, because the rest of it we should be able to do. If not, then you can also ask me, but the specific question is just for this part over here. And let's just make sure that we get the source files, and you'll see here that I have a download button. I downloaded it prior to making the video, so it is there, and here in my downloads you can see it is right there. And one thing that you should notice is that it is zipped, and you can even see that the little icon there says it's zipped. So you can right click on it, and then you look for something called extract all, or if you have a program called WinZip, you'll see something like that, or WinRAR, or 7-zip. I'm not sure which ones you have installed in your computer. I don't have any external zipping software, so I just use Microsoft's extracting. So I say extract all, and now they ask me select a destination and extract the file, so I can choose where I want to do this. I'm just going to do it here in my downloads folder, so I'm going to say extract. And it is important to do that because anything that you change inside of these files will stay saved if it's unzipped. If it's zipped, it keeps that state over there. Okay, so let's just tidy up everything. These are the zip folders and the question paper. We just need one of them, and it's good if we can download this. And you'll see that I'm using Microsoft Edge. Biggest reason why I use Microsoft Edge is so that I can draw, and so that I can erase and highlight. When you have it, okay, that didn't highlight, but I can highlight. In an exam, you want to basically take a pen and say, okay, I've done that step, I've done that step, I've done that step. You just want to do it like that. Okay, so let's start. So first thing you have to do is make sure that you have the following source files. So do we have m23bat.jpg. If you don't see the file extensions, then you can just go to View, Show, and then File Name Extensions. There should be something over here in that regard. If you're using Windows 10 or Windows 8, and I think if you write exams next year, you're probably going to use Windows 10 devices. But just say how to add extensions in file view Windows 10. So I'm just showing you this because it will show you how to do it if you're working with a device that you're not used to. So they will tell you, and then reading and researching is a big part of working with computers. So if you don't see anything that you understand here, let's say you like more pictures, then maybe, or if you like videos, then just watch a video. That's also really nice. You can look for the shortest one and then put it on 2x speed. Okay, anyway, so file extensions there, and M23 batting, yes, and it's CSV, yes, M23 logo, M23 CC, M23 text. If you're wondering how I am doing this with my screen, if I keep in Alt, let's go to on-screen keyboard, you can see that I keep in Alt and you can't see me tapping on the tab button, but if I click on the tab button, you can see that it's going from this window to that one to that one. And let's say I want to stay on this one, or I want to open it on that one, then I just leave the Alt button and then it opens. So I keep Alt in. So this is what I do on my keyboard. Okay, so it's just quicker to go between the files. Okay, so we are done with this. Cool, we're done. Now, the evidence document. Create a new word process document. Okay, word process document just means open it in Word. So I have done that. Notice how I mark that as a single thing that I've finished. I'm not done with task 1, I'm just done with the first part of task 1. Make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. Okay, whenever you see that, that just means we need to insert a header and footer. Usually they would specify, oops. Okay, and then they said center, well, student number, so I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, and center number. You're going to have NA030 if you write in Office Bay, and there we have it. So I went in there by just going to insert a header or footer. You can do it at the bottom as well. And when you want to go out, usually when you're inside the header and footer, you can also just say close header and footer. And let's say you want to change something, just click like crazy inside, or just twice, and click like crazy outside to go out. Okay, so we have done that. So make sure your name, center number, candidate number appear on every page. So on every page just means header or footer. So we're done with that. Now save this document in your work area as M23 evidence. Okay, so this is the name, followed, oh, let me not go over that. This is the name we need to keep, followed by your center number, candidate number, for example. Okay, so it should be saved like that. That is how we should save it. Okay, so I'm just going to say File, Save As, Browse, and now I'm going to go to my downloads. This is the folder we've unzipped. Usually it's a good idea to rename it something easier to remember, but I know I put it there. And now, since we're working digitally, we can just, in fact, we can just copy this entire thing. Copy. And I paste it in there. And now, instead of that, say NA030, and now I'm just going to make sure, was it the center number or my student number? They said followed by your center number underscore candidate number. Okay, so candidate number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is my evidence document, and I make sure that it is saved as a Word document. Sometimes it's gonna be on one of these options over here. You want to save it as a Word document. So I say save, and we are done with task 1. Okay, my center number, candidate number, and you will use this as your, okay, cool. So now we are done with task 1. Cool. So next, okay, so I'm going to help you until question 5, because that is what most of the WhatsApps were about. So task 2 is a spreadsheet. So when you see spreadsheet, you should think about Excel, because Excel is a spreadsheet software. So just in case, Excel, it's difficult to write with the mouse. So spreadsheets just means Excel. Okay. Okay, the Tawara Cricket Club records on a spreadsheet the number of runs scored by each player in each match that they have played. I have just read that. Make sure that you read so you understand what you're doing. Open and examine the file m23batting.csv in your spreadsheet software. So, by default, if I double click on this, you can also see that it's going to say Microsoft Excel, separated value files. A CSV file, before I even go further, I just want to do some revision. A CSV file looks like this. it's a text-based file that is literally separated by commas. So all the values inside are separated by commas. That is what the CSV is short for, comma separated values. Okay, now by default Excel opens this file for us, which is quite great. In previous versions of Windows, we had to import this. So if I wanted to open this, I had to say data, and then I want to say get and transform data or input or one of these, and I say from text or CSV file, and I will click on that. Then I have to go to my file and I choose my CSV file. I say import, and then you go through this setup wizard where we have to say what is the delimiter. Now the delimiter just means what separates all the different values. Now since it's a CSV file, it's separated by commas, comma separated values. And then this is a new interface, but you would go through this install wizard where you would go next, change a few settings, and then it will import. But we don't have to do that. We just open the CSV file in Excel. If yours does not open by default in Excel, you can just right click, and there should be an option where you say open with, and then you just choose Excel. If the option is not here, then choose another app, and then you can just choose Excel should be there. If it's not there, you can WhatsApp me. I'll show you how to do that as well. But anyway, so we just open it, and here is our first thing. Open and examine the file in your spreadsheet software. So there should be enough time for you to actually just understand what's going on. So it seems this is the first team batting stats, and it's about batting. There's names, so it seems we have a bunch of names over here, and there's a bunch of matches. So 17 matches, and all 17 matches are covered by all these players, and we have highest scores in the match, lowest scores. Okay, we're probably going to do something there. Usually with spreadsheets we're also going to try and make it pretty and not out. Okay, so we're probably going to do a few Excel calculations over here. Okay, so first thing they say is delete row 2. So these are the columns, these are the rows. So I click on row 2, I right click, and I say delete. Okay, we have finished row 2, deleting row 2. Now they say insert a new row at the top of the spreadsheet. So if this is the first row and I say insert, I have just inserted a new row at the top of our spreadsheet. Merge cells A1 to V1. Okay, so it stops there with a full stop. So let's first do that. Merge cells A1 to V1. Okay, so this is A1, so you see A1. And now we need to go to V1. And you'll see that all of it's selected. And I go back to home and I say merge and center. Now it is merged and centered, and I can zoom in a little bit. And you'll see that there are no column lines anymore. It's a single thing. Anything I type in there goes in the middle of that. Okay, just want to make the view so that we see everything. Okay, next part is place the text Tawara Cricket Club in this merged cell. If you make any spelling mistakes, you lose one of the 5 marks. So just make sure that you write it exactly as it is here. Okay, Tawara Cricket Club. We are done with that. They say in the merged cell. Next thing they say is merge cells A2 to V2. So this is column A, this is row 2, A2 to V2. Now we just merge that, Now you can see that we have Tawara Cricket Club and the first team batting statistics. Next they say place in the footer. Okay, so you remember the footer that we had here? If we double click in there, that's the header, and the footer is the bottom part of the page. So whatever you put at the header and the footer, does not matter how many pages you make, all of the pages will have whatever you put in the header or the footer. Okay, I think there. Kind of messed up now. There. Okay, so you will see in the spreadsheet view there's no way that we can have a header or a footer. This is just unlimited. Well, it's not limited, but we just have so many cells over here. Where is the header and the footer? Sorry, my computer does not like what I just did. Okay, sorry about that. Oh yeah, so if we go to view, you can see we're in normal document view. Next one over here is the page layout. Now this will help us see how it's going to look like if you were to print this out. So if I were to print out this spreadsheet, it will come out in 3 pages. And the really cool thing is they already have headers and they already have footers. So this is where we are going to do the next part. So place in the footer, right aligned. So you'll see this is middle, left, and right, and this is the header, and they said the footer. So in the footer, right aligned, the text, spreadsheet edited by, okay, so we're going to say spreadsheet edited by, and it seems that they put it in bold. In fact, now that I just said that, I believe this should also be in bold. Just make that bold. There we go. Spreadsheet edited by, followed by a space. Okay, your name, center number, and candidate number. Okay, so it's this thing that we do all the time, and we're gonna say, okay, my name. If they say name, add in your surname as well, and then center number in NA030, and then student number 1234. We are done with this step, and then they say save this as a spreadsheet. Okay, now this is super important. When they say save this as a spreadsheet, and you will 100% of the times have to do this. So whenever they say save this as a spreadsheet, many times what I see, and it's been like this for a few years, when you save this, don't just say save, because what type of file did we open this with? This was a CSV file. Even though we're in Excel, it will save it again as a CSV file. So save as is very important to remember. This changes the file type that you want to save it as. So I'm going to say save as, browse. Now by default it wants to save it as a CSV file, but we need to save it as a Excel file. So look for one of these file types until you see Excel. Okay, not just Excel workbook, just a normal Excel file. And we need to save it specifically with the file name, M23 center number, candidate number, for example, and then they have that again. Okay, and now since we have the digital copy, we can copy and paste the name, and we can just change that format to NA030, and then our center or candidate number. There is the workbook. We say save, and now we are done with that part over there. Okay, So we finished with all these, and all of that should give us about 5 marks. Next part is format the spreadsheet to look like this. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and now we just compare theirs with ours. And we go out of the page layout view to go to the normal view, and now we just format what they have with ours. Now before you even try just using visual comparison, look at these steps that they usually put at the bottom. So they say format row 1 to have 36 point sans serif white text on a dark gray background. Okay, so row 1. This is row 1. 36 point. So we go to home and we say 36 point big. Okay. Next, sans serif. Now, just for in case, while you're practicing exams, serif versus sans serif. I had a video on the difference between serif and sans serif, but it might just be quicker if you just Google it. Otherwise, just go back to our previous lessons. But basically, sans serif is the basic one, and serif is the more fancy one. So, sans serif is the one that just has, it doesn't have any boots and hats. So it's what I used to say in the videos. And serif is the one that looks like a cowboy, which has have fancy boots and usually the top hats. So when they say, where's the paper? When they say sans serif, it's the basic one. So that just means we need to choose Arial. Where is it? Arial. Why don't I have Arial here? Wait, where is my Arial? Arial, there we go. Arial would be the sans serif one, and then Times New Roman. Times New Roman. You can see it has the top hats and the boots. So that is serif, and we want Arial. Okay, you don't have to remember all of that. It's just the only two that we'll be using. So technically you need to remember it, but otherwise just go look for one of the ticks that doesn't have any fancy parts to it. Okay, so sans serif, and then it needs to be white text. So this is the text box, so you just make it white. We can't see anything for now, don't stress. And then it needs to be on the dark gray background. So this is the background and dark gray. So this would be, there should be a gray color here, light gray. Doesn't really matter, you're going to print this out anyway, so let's say dark gray. I think that would be the dark gray one. There we go. And now we're done with that step. And then format row 2. So row 2. And it should have 18 points. So let's make that 18 points. It should have sans serif, okay, the basic one. So Arial should have black text. It already has black text, but let's just make sure it is chosen black text, and it's on a light gray background. Okay, so this one goes on a, so if this was dark gray, then that would be light gray, or you can just choose that one. Oops. Because if you hover over the colors, they actually tell you what the name is. So light gray. So that would be light gray. And then we're done with that. And now we just need to make sure everything looks the same. Now we need to look for the fact that I'm not sure if you saw at the very beginning that when I clicked here and I double clicked over there, everything moved to have enough space. Like originally, I hope you held out until now, and yours might not look the same as mine until now, but it looks something like this. And you can manually go and change this, but you want it to be exact. So you're going to click there, and you just double click on the column, and you'll see everything is spaced out perfectly. Next thing you can do is double click here, and then you can just double click there to make sure that the height of the rows are the same as well. So it seems that from here we're done with this part, we're done with that part. Let's look at row 3. So it seems that all of these are centered in the middle of the cells. Okay, to do that, so I'm going to click on row 3. So I'm going to center it like this, middle align, and I'm going to center it with the center button. The other thing we need to look for, so we've done that. The one thing that's different is look at the height difference between theirs and the normal 3 that we have. And the only way that we can determine how high this is without an exact height is by looking at the words over here. And it seems that we need to try and fit in a number of matches on each line. So we're just going to do this. Do this. And it seems that we'll have to say merge and center wrap text. Wrap text just means that if it runs out of space, that it doesn't just bleed into or underneath any of the other cells. So you just say wrap text, and we just do this until number of matches played, and you can see that it's a bit squished, so we can just make the height of the cells a bit better. Okay, and it seems that we're going to do the same thing with this one. Not out, and then average score, that seems to be in 2 as well. So wrap text. There we go. So average score, number of matches played, not out, name. We are done with row 3. And for the next part, row 4, if I just look at these numbers, all of them also seem to be middle aligned. If you can imagine me putting those, well, I don't imagine, you can actually see me put the middle line there. But with the names, so I immediately go to the names because I see there's something different. This seems to be right aligned. It's not here, and it's not in the middle. It seems to veer off to the right. So I also noticed that for all the names over here, all of them seem to be right aligned. So let's start with that. So by default, the text cells are left aligned. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say right align. And for the numbers, all the numbers over here, in fact all of them over here, if you look at all of them seem to be in the middle. So they are just center aligned. So we just say all of these. And you can see I'm thinking about the future as well, just in terms of how it would look like. I'm just going to center align them. And that seems to be all that we had to do. So now we just take a comparison. I'm just taking this away just so that I can compare this with mine. Not out. Okay, this needs a bit more space. Not out. This seems fine. This is a bit too squished. Okay. Seems like theirs. They do have dotted lines, but that's just their way of showing that they're not really lines there yet. Okay, so we are done with question 2, and that was 10 marks. Now they say place in cell U4, so let's find U and then 4. So over here, number of matches played. Place in cell U4 a function to count the number of matches played by this player. Okay, before we can do the next part, let's just do that. So what function counts something? So we say equal, we try count, and you see, what does count do? It counts the number of cells in the range that contains numbers, or that contain numbers. So I'm going to press tab on my keyboard. I'm going to show you. So on my keyboard, if you see one of these options that you like, so on the keyboard you're going to go up, down, which one you like, without having to type or make any mistakes. You just press tab, and now it starts the first value for you. So I'm just going to click on all the match numbers. So you can see there, it's just going to add all these, well, it's just going to count how many matches were played. And I can add in a bunch of values. And to close it off, I'm just going to say shift, and I'm going to close the bracket and press enter. And it seems that the number of matches played were 9. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome. It seems that it works. So we have placed in cell U4 a function to count the number of matches played by this player. We have done that. Now they say replicate this formula for each player. The easiest way to do that, instead of having to go say equals count, tab, and then having to do this every single time, there's an easier way. You can copy and paste. Copy, paste. Dangerous thing to do about that is sometimes it will copy this exact thing and not replicate it downwards. So easiest, if you have a formula that you like or that you know that works, just drag it all the way down, and you'll see you need to drag it down using that little box over there. I'm not sure. That little box right there. So that just helps you replicate a formula down. Okay, so that was for 3 marks. Okay, yeah, 3 marks. Then place in cells B33. Let's just identify the B33 and B34. Okay, so both of them. So that one and this one. So this is for the highest score and the lowest score. Whenever you see highest, lowest, think of maximum and minimum in terms of functions. They're going to tell us put in functions to display the highest and the lowest scores for this match. Okay, before we do the next step, let's just do that. So highest and lowest scores. So for the highest scores, there's a function called max. It returns the largest value in a set of values. Okay, so max, I'm going to press tab. What is the max value for match 1? 92. So let's just double check. 92, that seems to be the highest. There's nothing higher than 92. Awesome. Let's do it for lowest. If highest was max, lowest should be, hope you said minimum, and there's minimum, so it's going to take all these values and it's going to give us the minimum, and from here it seems 0 is the lowest score. Okay, so we have finished this part of the question, and now they ask replicate this for all other matches. Okay, again with the replication, you're just going to take this and drag it to the side. You can do it up, you can do it down, and you can also go to the sides. And we're going to do the minimum as well. And that was 5 marks. Awesome. Now this is the last part. Place a replicable formula in cell V4. So let's find V4, V4, so right over there. To calculate the average score for this player, round it to 1 decimal place. Okay, this is really nice. The fact that they give us a formula that you don't have to figure out is really great. Okay, so we're gonna round this. This is really important when they say this, because there's a specific formula that we need to use for that. So let's just think of this first. So we need to put in an average score that is calculated by total runs scored divided by number of matches played minus not out. Okay, so first thing, what is the total runs scored? So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Okay, so the total runs scored, we need to have some sort of function that will allow us to find out what that total is. So what is one of the functions you can think about? If you say sum, sum adds all the numbers together, so we're just going to add all of these, and now we get some sort of total. Now if I just press enter, that's going to be 575, but that's not the entire formula. That was just the total runs. Now we need to divide this number. We need to divide that 575 something else. We need to divide it with the answer of number of matches played minus not out. Okay, so we need to minus the total number of runs, and I'm gonna put this in brackets as well. I hope you just have a look over here. So this is the total runs, and now we just need to say what is the number of matches played. Here is the number of matches played, so I can just say that number, so U4, and I'm gonna subtract how many not out. Oops. So how many not out, and that is the average score. So the sum of that, oh no, I said minus, my bad. It is divided, so I'm going to divide that, and there we have 82.1429. And one thing that they told us was that it needed to be rounded to 1 decimal place. So this entire number, so that entire number, all of that I put in brackets, that is a single number that needs to be rounded. Oops. Round, I forget to press tab sometimes. Rounded, okay. They want to have the number, and then by how many digits it must be rounded off to. Okay, so we say open bracket, our number is this whole calculation, and the number of digits, they said 1 decimal place. Now it says 82.1, rounded to 1 decimal place. If they said 2 decimal places, then we would say this really helps you to see what's going on and where you are in the function. So if I click here, you can see number of digits, and I click anywhere in here, it's going to be the number for round. Okay, so if they said 2 decimal places, you just say 2, and if they said no decimal places, then you just say 0. Okay, but they said 1, so we're going to keep it at 1. Now we just read further before we do anything else. Edit this formula to make sure that cell contents are not displayed if this player has played fewer than 5 matches. So you would have, if you just have this part of the question, you would already get most of your marks. But now this part, they say edit this formula to make sure that cell contents are not displayed if, okay, whenever you see that word if, remember there's a function called if this player has played fewer than 5 matches. Okay, so the number of matches we know. So this should not show if this is less than 5. Okay, so let's just take this. So let me first just do the if before we do anything. So we want the average score to show only if the number of matches played is more than 5. Okay, so we start off by saying if, and checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if it's true and another if it's false. So we say if, let me just type it here. If, what's the logical test? What is the if? Now they said if the number of matches played, okay, so if the number of matches played is less than 5, what should, if this is true, if that 10 was less than 5, it is not, but let's say it was 4, it is less than 5. What did they say should happen if it's less than 5? Edit the formula to make sure that the cell contents are not displayed if the player has played fewer than 5 matches. Okay, so if this number of matches is less than 5, what should the value be? Also make sure that you have commas over there. Sorry, I'm using my finger on the screen. That you have commas over there. If you don't have commas and you have semicolons, that just means that your language on your computer has been set to United States English and not UK English. And yeah, we use commas in Excel, and it's really important that when you practice you also have that. But if yours are semicolons, you can still use it. Just make sure that in this little hint box that your delimiters look the same. Delimiters, quick summary, is just the thing that separates values. Okay, so what is the value if it's true? They said nothing should be displayed, so I just put in, you can put in 2 quotation marks, just nothing. The value is nothing. What is the value if it's false? So what that means, if the number of matches is greater than 5, well, technically played fewer than 5 matches. Technically, if it's greater than 4, 5 is then included. Then we should do this calculation. This only works, this should only show if it's greater than 5, if it's 5 or more. So this is when we have the average score. Now that was just to show what it is they want us for that second part, because we already have a formula here. So we're just going to add that, and I didn't want to confuse you with what I'm going to show you now. This is a single value. All of that is a single value. What is that value? It is 82.1. Okay. Now we say only show us, so I'm going to say if, what is my logical test? Logical test is if number of matches is less than 5, show nothing, and then show us if the value has an average. Okay, so now they said we need to make it replicable, so let me just drag this down. let's just drag it down till here. You'll see that the first one we have that actually has less than 5 matches is this one, and nothing showed up here. We have a formula, but it will only show if it's greater than 5. So I can replicate this down to, let's go to, let's see what 5 does. 5 should be included, and it is there. 3 is excluded, 1 is excluded, 3 is excluded. You can see it right there. A different way that you can also do this is, instead of saying again, we have this is a single number. Our logical test can also just be if that is greater than 4. Okay, so it means they have played more than 4 matches, means at least 5. I'm trying to not confuse you with how this works, but I hope this is a different way of doing it. It's the same thing. When it's 5 or more matches, then show us or calculate then the average, and we've done that. If this test is false, if it's not more than 4, if it's 4 or less, what is the value? It should be nothing. And this you can replicate and we'll do exactly the same. Let's take it to the 5 again. So this should show, this should not show. So you can actually use both of these to help you answer this question. And that was 11 marks. It usually doesn't take this long to go through this. It just takes long when I have to explain each part, but you'll see the more you do this, you'll really have a lot of this. If you go through past papers, you will understand this. Let me also just go through this. So save your spreadsheet. Okay, they say save your spreadsheet, so I'm just going to say save as, and I say save as because I need to make sure that it's an Excel workbook. If you save this as a CSV file, it is let me just show you what happens if you save it as a CSV file. So I'm going to save it as an Excel workbook. Okay, I just want to overwrite that. Okay, and when I save this as a CSV file, CSV, and there we go, you can see that they also tell us there's a possible data loss. Some features might be lost if you save this workbook in the comma delimited CSV format. To preserve these features, save it as a Excel format. So if you have this error message, that's fantastic, but you don't always have that. So let's say I close it, the power went off, I need to continue again, and this is the one that's saved correctly. It's an XLSX or a Microsoft Excel worksheet. You can just see it there. But if you saved it as a CSV, and this is something I want to show you. So this is the correct one. Yeah, beautiful. We've just finished this one. If you save this as a CSV, look what happened. Okay, so it doesn't look that bad, and then you think, okay, I can just quickly re-edit everything. If you click on here, there is no more formula. There is no formula inside of this. It only saved the values. They don't mark the values. They want to mark, when I say they, I'm speaking about Cambridge. By the way, if you want to see your formulas, if you keep Control in, and next to the 1 on your keyboard, there should be a button that looks like this. If you press that, then you can see the formulas. So here you can see all the formulas, and this is what they're going to mark. Okay, anyway, I just wanted you to see the train smash of what happens if you don't save it in the correct format. Okay, so save your spreadsheet. We have done that. Print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Okay, how do we print this showing the formula? I just showed you how to show the formula. There's also formulas, and then you can say show formulas, and if you hover over it, they also show you the shortcut that I just showed you. Okay, very important, when you have to print out the formulas, always make sure that the entire formula is visible. So this is easy. Count, they have done this for us. No, we have done that, sorry. But you can see the average score over here. It's a long formula and it's not completely showing. So just click on the column. Yeah, so click on the column and just double click, and you'll see that the entirety of the formula is showing right now. Okay, that's what we want. Now that you have this, then you just say file and print. Now they should actually give us more instructions. Print the showing the formula. Okay, we've showed the formula. Okay, make sure the row and column headings are displayed. Okay, so now we go into page setup, and I just need to, I haven't done this in a while. Column headings should be here. Row and column headings. Okay, so that should be selected. Row and column headings are displayed. The grid lines are displayed, so we want the grid lines. The page orientation is a landscape. So page, we go to landscape. And then the contents of all the cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Okay, that's what we just did. Okay, so let me just say okay. Where's the, oh, here. So now you can see we have 8 pages of this. And usually another thing that they would say is it needs to be on a single page. The entire column needs to fit on, let's just see, make sure the row column is, okay, they didn't say it needs to be printed on a single piece of paper, so that's fine. So if they didn't say that, no scaling, this is perfect. So there's going to be 8 pages of that, and you can see that it's a spreadsheet edited by my name, center number, and candidate number, and you have 8 of these. Okay, in real life, well, when I say real life, when you write your exam at the center in Walvis Bay, or if you write it in Swakop, or if you write in Windhoek, there's going to be a physical printer, and the computer that you're writing at should have that printer by default. And then you're going to make sure, okay, how many pages are we actually going to print? Okay, 1 out of 8. I make sure this is how many pages I should have, and then you just say print, and it should print. They should give you more details if they wanted to have specific things. I just put it A4 because that's what a printer usually prints as. But for us, for the exam, and this is specifically now for my year 9s, we're just going to print it as a PDF. Okay, so I'm just going to say print, and this was our first printout. Okay, so print your spreadsheet. So I'm just going to call this print out 1, and I just go to downloads, go to my folder. Okay, so printout 1, save. So when I open this, this is what I'm going to mark. I am, yeah, for this specific printout, I'm mostly going to look at your formulas. That's what the focus of this printout was. So I'm going to mark just that. Like, even if your calculations don't give the right answers, you still get a mark for using the right function, and then you get another mark if that inside part was correct or not. Okay. So we're done with that part, and then they say sort all the data for the players in descending order of their average score. Okay, so sort all the data. Okay, so before we do that, I'm just gonna uncheck the show formulas. Okay, so we have this again. So now we need to sort the data for the players in descending order of their average score. Okay, so we have all of this, and we need to sort it according to their average score. So we go home, and then custom sort, and then it's going to be based on sort by what did they say? By their average score. So the average score over here. So this is column V. So we're just going to look for column V. And then they said descending order. So that means from highest to lowest. Okay, and then we say okay. I might have done that incorrectly. Let me just make double sure. So column V from largest to smallest. Oh, and it's identifying those zeros as the largest. So those players who do not have an average score displayed must be at the bottom of the list. That is very interesting that it's showing us that. What I would suggest, I can't think of a sorting method that does this for us. What I would suggest is literally just dragging this down. Wait, I don't want to replace that. Yo, I'm gonna cut this, and then I'm gonna paste it underneath there. It actually overwrote those. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that should work there. Okay, yeah, now they're at the bottom, and the highest is 82, 73. Nice. Okay, problem solved. Those players who do not have an average score displayed must be at the bottom of the list. We have done that. 5 marks, we're done. Now they say save your spreadsheet with the file name. Okay, so just copy this. Again, they say save your spreadsheet. I know it's easy just to press that button over there or just press save. Always save as. Biggest reason is you have to make sure that you actually have it saved as an Excel workbook. Okay, and now we just replace that part with NA030 and 1, 2, 3, 4. It says save. Okay, and we have saved it. Now print your spreadsheet showing the values. Okay, that is just, they don't want the formulas anymore. Now they want the values. So now they're going to look at how your spreadsheet actually looks like. Print your values, and now they're going to specify how we do that. But first we just go to print, file, print. Okay. Make sure the row and column headings are not displayed. Okay, so these are the row and column headings. So you just go to page setup, and I had to remember that earlier. So row and column headings should not be there. Row and column headings are not displayed. The grid lines are not displayed, so grid lines also not showed. The page orientation is landscape. Okay, it is in landscape. And then the contents of all cells are fully visible and can be easily read. Okay, awesome. That's all we have to do. So let's just go back here. So now you can see this is 4 pages. And I know this does not look very nice to look at, but this is perfect for somebody to mark this. I can see everything I need to. I can see the formatting and everything. If you're unsure of your printouts while you're practicing for the exams, let me just go to Google Classroom. you'll see that even in the zip file with all the past papers in, there's a what do you call it, a mark sheet. I think it's this one we've been doing. I don't think so. Okay, and then mark sheet. Now if you open this, you'll actually see what the printouts should be. Okay, so this is just a text-based thing that you can look at, but the easier one to work with is this. So you can see this is what the printouts kind of should look like. This is what they're looking for. You mark on top of this. So I'll show you now quickly how you mark. This is the evidence document. You can just have a look at what it is they want there. That's actually all I just wanted to show there. And then we just say print to PDF. In real life, you'll have an actual printout. You'll have a little folder that you put the physical papers in, but for us, you just make digital printouts. We don't want to waste any paper. Say printout to, there we go. And now we are finished with question 1, which is out of 70, no, 43. So that took quite a while. Divided. That was 61% of the test, and we're done now. So we have 2 hours and 15 minutes. I actually have no idea how long we've been doing this with the explanations, but it should go much quicker than I just used the time for. And yeah, this is I hope it helped. That is how I've done this. Then the other thing, I'm just gonna close this. I want you to notice how many marks I make. You need to do this on your actual exam as well. You can print it out and then use a pencil or highlighter to do what I've been doing here. It really helps that you don't miss anything. There's a lot of people that miss out on things, and you can also just make a little star and say, I don't know how to do that, I forgot, and then come back to it when you have extra time. Don't sit on something that's 2 marks. Well, this is quite important. The printouts are very important, but don't sit on something for too long. If this one over here for 3 marks takes you 20 minutes, you've wasted time. So take your time, go through everything, and if you realize it's going to take longer than 3 minutes just figure out, then just make a little star and come back to it later. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously that means with your printouts it's going to be demakar, but you can also just save on top of your other printouts, and in real life you can just throw away printouts if you made adjustments to the original file. Okay, so we're done with this. I want to show you now, okay, now that we have the printouts, okay, it's going to be neater if we have a printout folder. Okay, now another thing I want you guys to realize, you have this beautiful Excel file. I'm not going to mark this. It's not because I don't like you, it's Cambridge. Save. Yeah, sure. You're not going to hand in any of these files that you're working with. You're only going to hand in the printouts. So even if you've done all of these 100% correctly, if you do not give me a PDF printout, if you do not give me the printout, I'm just going to say that again, you do not get the marks. This is why some of you got 0 out of 70 for the previous exam. You gave me these files and you've done them beautifully. Like really, I know that you guys worked hard, and it's really, really demotivating when that happens. This is the only thing that I mark. Okay, so I get your printout just like this. Cambridge will get your physical printout just like this. And now you can start marking. let me just get the mark sheet. So let's just start with the first printout. So it's this one over here. You can see there are formulas. Okay, even though you can't see anything here, what do you get marks for? Okay, B33. So in B33, what are we looking for? Okay, so I take out my little marker. We get 1 mark for the word max. Nice. We get another mark for B4 to B31. Nice. We get another mark for minimum, and we get another mark for B31, and the other mark if it's replicated to column R. Okay, so column B to column R. Okay, I know that I've done this, but it goes all the way to column R. Okay, nice. Another mark. That was that mark for there, so I'm just gonna maybe keep that mark here. Okay, we've done that, so that means we have 5 for that first part. Okay, now we go down, and now we look for this part over here. Okay, what are we looking for? So for the word count, and inside of brackets you get 1 mark. You can see how we mark this. Okay, so if there is something here that you see you haven't done, this is where you learn. You put all your marks there, and at the end of this you'll have a single mark for the first printout. Then you go to your second printout, which is this one over here, and you also just mark that, and this is how you should mark and go through the past papers. Okay, so this is just also a different way of marking it, but you'll see that everything here is also just replicated on the printout, so they usually just use this because it's easier to see what it should look like. Okay, I hope the video helped. I hope my microphone was on for this recording, and good luck with the preparations for the exam.